happiness is very important. Longevity is also very important. We need to draw a bridge between happiness and longevity.
As we know that the mental health and the physical health are counterpart of each other. So if we are happy, that is the mental health is good, then the physical health will be good.
I mean, all of us have negative events, negative information that comes our way. But if you can keep a positive view of everything, it doesn't matter. This is life.
I think COVID has taught us a lot to be virtual with many things. It's better to be virtual than not to be there. Nothing can take place of a physical touch or a physical being there.
Hello friends, welcome back to B Cubed, Breaking Boundaries with Sabeer Bhatia himself. Today's episode is on a very relevant subject, happiness and longevity. So, happiness, friends, is an emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. Longevity, on the other side, is long duration of lifespan and perhaps health span as well, as our special guest will tell you. So, I have to welcome Dr. Supriya Bali. Dr. Supriya Bali is our special guest today for today's episode. She is with Max Healthcare. She's a director of internal medicine at Max and has had more than 2 decades of experience in her field, a very, very well respected professional of her field. Dr. Bali, my first question to you is the obvious one. Does happiness have a real effect on physical health?
Yeah, so happiness definitely has a very, very real effect on the physical health. As we know that the mental health and the physical health are counterpart of each other. So if we are happy, that is the mental health is good, then the physical health will be good because they are highly interconnected and interrelated to each other.
So it extends lifespan and health span.
Yeah, it extends lifespan, the lifestyle diseases will be less and the body is more healthy. So of course the mind and the body are both more healthier. So the lifespan is more, you live a better life and a longer life.
Sabeer is a practitioner of this. So you're the doctor, but he's the practitioner. He actually practices life where he he's physically exerts himself, plays a lot of games, remains happy with his children, is an indulgent parent. So he brings a lot of happiness to himself. And perhaps you might like to comment on this.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm not a doctor. I haven't studied this, but like you said, I practice it. My goals are really simple. Whenever I work out and whenever I push my body to the limit, I do, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles of cycling, I just feel that I have been reborn. It's like I have died and I've been born again, and there is such a rush of endorphins in my brain that brings about just some sort of an internal happiness in me. So I agree with you that obviously there is a great effect on a healthy body housing a healthy mind. But the other way is also probably true. At times when I'm concerned with work or I'm depressed or I'm my mind is overly burdened, I forget to work out, and I naturally tend to go and start snacking on something, eating things, and then I have to remind myself that I should go out and just stress my body again. And lo and behold, every time I do that, I come back as a happy person.
Wonderful. So what exactly do you think are the specific physiological mechanisms that are influenced by emotional well-being?
So as he just said that the endorphins are released when you exercise, and the endorphins are one of the most important happy hormones, as we say. So the emotional health is good. So are we talking about the exercise in relation to the physical activity, the exercise, your daily routine, and of course a lot of things which we'll I think talk about it, like yoga and meditation, all leads to the mental well-being, and therefore they lead to the physical well-being also.
So what is the role? I mean, we are talking about endorphins. Okay, what about dopamine and what about oxytocin and serotonin?
So all these four actually, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins are all the happy hormones. But the most important hormone in this category of the good hormones and or
Endorphin.
which is endorphins. And as we know that endorphins are released in a gush when you exercise, when you do physical activity, when there is a massage, there are certain kind of foods which can release to a hike of endorphins. So it is one of the most important hormones for a happy being happy.
So you have to make the hormones happy first,
No.
and then they make you happy, and then you live long.
No. So if you do the right thing, the good hormones will be released in your body. Your body is capable of doing that, and that's how you will be happy.
So, what are the measurable long-term health benefits associated with consistent positive emotions? The measurable ones.
Well, the measurable. You want to say the
Long-term health benefits. I mean, what are the parameters? How do you determine?
okay. So I mean the physical parameters will be like in terms of weight, in terms of your moods, your main things like vitals. So like blood pressure is one of the important things. As when we come to the lifestyle diseases, hypertension is one of them. So the measurement by of weight and blood pressure, and I mean these are the of course these are the two main things you can say, which people will be concerned on a physical basis.
Sabeer, you have been very particular about proactive health management, and you have been going for you regularly have your blood work and your checks done. Would you like to tell us something about?
Yeah, I think God made an incredible machine in each of us. And, we all, previously, I used to think of health as, being a state of mind, that if I'm feeling healthy, I can do things, I don't have any pain in any part of my body. Of course, when you're younger, you're kind of disease free, you're healthy. But as I have grown older, I now know, and every 3 months I get my blood work done and measure like 27 different parameters that give me an accurate picture of exactly what the state of my body is. And I can tell by different kind of levels, obviously vitamin D, DHEA, all the blood markers, whether there is too much sugar, cholesterol, A1C, all these give you an accurate picture. And now, of course, modern medicine, which is available to all of us, and modern tools, I have a scale that even tells me how much subcutaneous fat I have, visceral fat I have. So I monitor these every 3 months, and I try to bring my body in a state where they're all in a state of kind of normalcy. And I do that by complementing two things. One is rigorous exercise, which I think has been proven time and time again to lead to happiness and good health. But of late, in the last 1 year, I've also thrown in this an element of 5 day fasting, which helps. One is I reduce 20 pounds every time I fast for 5 days. And two is all my blood levels and markers come back to being normal. I mean, it's amazing. It's like the miracle drug that religion introduced or God made for us, which is fasting.
No, but the regime that you follow, the 5 day fasting regime, has been it's been written about by who's the author of this?
Dr. Walter Longo.
Longo.
He has a diet called the fasting mimicking diet, in which the concept is that the human body requires about 1800 calories just to survive, and so he gives you a reduced calorie diet of between 700 and 900 calories every day. So you put your body in a state of ketosis, and it goes into a state of autophagy and starts cleansing. And if nothing else, the theory is that this can increase your health span and help you live disease free. But the immediate blood markers and weight levels are phenomenal. I mean, the benefits are outstanding. I've not seen anything that can bring the body in a much more positive state in a short span of 5 days.
So, doctor, this is, you see, what he's talking about is the immediate effect. He probably has a huge feel good factor after he's done with his fasting. One day after that, he probably feels much younger, more energetic, more alert, and all of that. But then there are certain long term, there has to be a long term impact. Now, Dr. Bali, what do you think the long term impact of this should be?
Yeah, so my take on this will be a little different from a clinician point of view,
Yes,
because we
that's
get
what
to
we
see
want.
a lot of patients actually, and some of them are healthy, but most of them are unhealthy in some or the other way when they come to us. So first of all, doing a complete blood test on every 3 months becomes a little challenge for most of us. Okay, so what we recommend is that if you are okay, I mean, if your parameters are okay, then we can easily do a full checkup like 6 months, or sometimes in once a year also, depending on the age factor and the comorbidities, and keeping the the family history and the genetic things in mind as of second thing, what I would like to say is that we have had, like, there has been numerous kind of researches on intermittent fasting, fasting for few days, and the results are varying. The results are varying. So, well, being in India and practicing in India, I would like to keep more Indian population into mind. And intermittent fasting has got its some plus points, but as it has been seen by a lot of research happening, has some negative impacts also. Because initially when it came, it was seen that it is a wonderful thing to do, and all diabetics can revert their diabetes with intermittent fasting. But no, it doesn't happen like that. So there are different people who will respond very well to this kind of fastings, but it doesn't suit all.
Another set of people.
It doesn't suit another set of people.
So,
I would say.
how would you demarcate between these two?
So it's difficult to do a demarcation, but so we normally sit on the patient's side and then listen to them and understand their lifestyle and what their needs are, and then accordingly tell them. When I say patient, means patient or general population, then guide them accordingly. Because as a clinician, as a physician, as an internal medicine practitioner, I would not very fond of intermittent fasting, because we have seen negative results also with that. So, but what he said, what Bhatia said, was that yes, it has some of the positive effects, definitely, but not everybody's, as you can say, not everybody's body can take it.
I see.
But you're talking about intermittent fasting. I'm talking about 5-day fasting, which is even more extreme.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that is even more extreme. So like a simple thing I'll tell you is, like, for diabetes, everybody knows diabetes and HbA1c, which is a 3 months blood sugar. But it has been seen that in Indian population, if we try to reduce the HbA1c very low, that's like lower than 6.8 or 6.9, they are more prone to develop a heart problem. And this has been shown in a lot of researches. So nowadays, in fact, I would say 5-7 years back, the target was HbA1c, keep HbA1c down, 6.7, 6.6. Now we don't. We tell our patients, okay, if your HbA1c is around 6.8, 6.9, it's okay. And then you also have to see the age. Like, if an 80-year-old is coming to me with an HbA1c of 6.97 with an average sugar reasonably good, I would be happy. So, you basically have to, I would say, like, every person and every patient and every person is little different, and you have to, so one thing suits one and one thing which will not suit the other person. So you have to keep that in mind.
Right. So that was, that was the biochemical part, whatever. But emotional part, which is, let's reconnect with happiness, giving longevity. So what do you connect happiness? Where do you draw happiness from? Do you draw it from more of satisfaction and joy in life? Or do you draw it more from the lack of stress and bad health? I mean, what is the best way to be happy?
So I think every single thing in your mind and body contributes to happiness. So the mind and the body cannot be separated from each other. And happiness is definitely very, very close related to your mind, because if your body is fine, if you're healthy, if your body is fine, your mind will also be fine. You will think positive. Let's keep it that way. You will think positive. So if I'm not suffering from any kind of illness, And if I'm not worried about now, what will happen to me the next moment, how my health is, how my blood pressure is, I will be happy. So they cannot be separated. They are so much interconnected to each other, the mind and the body, and therefore the happiness also depends on your mental health as well as on your physical health.
The reverse obviously being psychosomatic disorders.
Psychosomatic disorders, that's a separate group. So if somebody is suffering from psychosomatic disorders, then of course they need different kind of help.
I see. No, because what I'm saying is that if somebody keeps worrying all the time, is stressed out for little or no reason, then that is bound to affect the person's physicality.
Yeah. But that group will not fall. That is not called a psychosomatic. Keep worrying, keep feeling a little worried, today I'm feeling a little low, today my mood is a little low. That is not psychosomatic.
Okay, that is psychological.
That is a small psychological thing, and we all go through it 100 times in a day, but we all overcome it. But when we name it as psychosomatic, it's a different group. Then those people need help because they have a mental illness for which they need help with a psychologist or a counselor or psychiatrist.
Right. Sabeer, you thrive on relationships, good, happy, loving relationships. Do you think that is a cause also of your good health?
Yeah, I try to keep life really simple. So I think if you have a good body and you have good human relationships,
That's what I meant.
and you think positive, no matter how much negative, I mean, all of us have negative events, negative information that comes our way. But if you can keep a positive view of everything, it doesn't matter. This is life. I mean, if you don't have any lows, what's the point of life, right? You haven't experienced it. I think in general, that leads to good health. So maintain good relationships with fellow human beings. Two is keep a positive attitude and try to maintain a healthy body. And that you can do through good diet, proper sleep, exercise, calorie restriction. In my case, the doctor may disagree, but I found it to be extremely useful and beneficial. Simple things like this, and try to find, natural ways to being healthy, to remaining healthy. And it's really simple, positive thoughts, good words, and good deeds.
Though she didn't disagree, what she said was there are two sets of people. So you belong to that positive set of people who fasting suits. But Dr. Bali, what is your take on this? When you go to see your patients who are admitted in the hospital, and some patients you see lying on the bed all alone, morose, hardly anybody coming to see them. Probably nobody talks to you about their state. And there are some other patients where there's very lively interest from relatives, immediate relatives, friends, a lot of concern. Is it your experience that those kind of patients come out faster?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. So social interactions and social connections are both very, very important for all human beings. And it definitely has a very positive and a very important role on your mental health and of course physical both. So to remain happy, how social you are, how well you are connected, how your relations are with your family, with your friends, they are all definitely have a big impact. And patients who are looked after by the family in the hospital and otherwise they definitely do well. They definitely do well. I mean, we see these kind of patients every day, and we see that the morbidity and the mortality is also pretty high in people who are not looked after well. So that area is very, very clear on medical aspects, that the people, anybody who is looked after well and is socially happy, connected with the family, will always do good, even if when they are ill, when they are very sick. I mean, of course, if the sickness is very bad, then it can take a different toll on your body. But definitely, they have a much better recovery, and because of the positivity and because of the being connected with people, their near and dear ones.
so this further establishes the relationship between happiness and longevity. Probably those people live longer than those who do not enjoy so much of affection from near and dear ones.
Now, I have a question. Of course, this is more observing the current state of the world. You know, a lot of face-to-face human relationships are going virtual. You know, the kids are always on devices. We are interacting on Zoom. We don't get to physically meet people and be face-to-face. Do you think there's a difference between the two relationships, one that is virtual and the other that is more human, touch-oriented, physical, face-to-face?
Well, there is definitely a difference between the two, but I think COVID has taught us a lot to be virtual with many things. So it's better to be virtual than not to be there. So nothing can take place of a physical touch or a physical being there. But if that is not possible, then virtual is the second one, rather than being disconnected. So we saw in so many patients, so many people's cases that they could not meet their children overseas and all for what, almost 2 years. But because of the new, the technology which we have, different kind of apps and virtual meetings and all, things were definitely
adults
better.
are fine. I'm talking about children. The children are forming
Yeah,
only
that's-
virtual relationships,
Yeah,
not physical.
that's not correct. That's not right. That is definitely
So
not.
there is a
going to-
difference between the
There
two.
is definitely a difference. There is definitely a difference between the children and in adults, as well as the virtual and the physical relationships are concerned.
How will this manifest itself? Like, do you think children will be less healthy because they don't have physical relationships as they grow up?
Definitely to some extent, because it is also because of the virtual things and being on the electronics and on their mobiles and all, the physical activities are also decreasing in many of them. So that will also impact them. And then that kind of bond and that kind of feeling of togetherness will not be there with more being more virtual. So that is why we always say that with every generation we see the changes. Some of them are also not for everything is not for bad, but yes, there are a lot of things which are not as they used to be with the coming generations, and because this is one of the reasons for that. Yeah.
So, can we actually, doctors believe in therapies, doctors believe in treatment, not just diagnosis. So, in the name of treatment and therapy, can we actually design interventions for people to be happier so as to influence their health? Interventions like, mindfulness, therapy, actual other kinds of physical therapies and all that, community involvement, all these things. Can we do, first of all, can we devise these interventions? And second, how effective would those interventions be?
So these interventions can be devised. I can't comment on which scale, but as we say, like, in different colonies, you have small associations, like, we call it RWA, like resident welfare associations and all. These are small communities which help people to meet together in the colony park, do some exercise together, do breathing exercises, do meditations. So all these things, they are not like devices, but yes, in an indirect term, there are some kind of devices which are made by us only. So these things will definitely help to people, especially who are on their own, who don't have a family living with them. And here when I talk about the elderly population above 70, 75 who are on their own, husband, wife living here, children abroad, things like that. Nowadays, everybody doesn't have a big joint family. There are a lot of nuclear families. So for these community devices will definitely help. How far it is to, it's not very easy also to develop, but last few years, I would say, especially before COVID also and after COVID, a lot of communities have come up in front to help these kind of people. And it has definitely helped them. It has definitely helped them because we have seen that people who were just left behind on their own didn't do that well. But people who got involved with the colony and with their resident association or whatever you can say, even if they don't have their near and dear ones with them, they did
better.
They did better. Yes.
Sabeer,
So that is my
what about
take
your
on that.
take on this?
No, obviously, I think community involvement is very important, and all kinds of interventions work. You have to you're increasing the social relationships of people by community involvement. And one of the worst punishments given to people who are incarcerated is isolation. And so isolation can even take the form of being isolated and not feeling that you're part of a community where an elderly person is living by himself or herself. So obviously when they are put in an old age home with other people of a similar age, they tend to live longer. So I would very much agree with the doctor that social interventions, positive interventions of social interactions improve the health span and lifespan of individuals.
So the next question, or rather the next observation, would be that the perception of happiness. What happiness is for me entirely is not what happiness is for him entirely or for you. And then it changes with age as we age. Your comments.
Well, the perception of happiness is definitely going to be different for everybody. And as you said, that it is going to change with age. For a child, happiness is to go and play in the ground. But for you and me, the happiness must be just, after the work, sitting quietly, spending some good time with the family, listening to some good music. So the perception is definitely different for everybody. And I think if we talk about, because we are talking about happiness and longevity, so if we talk about the elderly population, the happiness would be again to, if they are with their children, to spend some time with them, to if they have to be physically fit or physically feel good, then they will be happy. If they are getting a good sleep, if they have a good environment around themselves, I think these things matter. Some basic decent food and healthy eating habits, all these things will make that kind of an age group happy.
Just the grandchildren coming and hugging them is a great source of happiness.
Definitely great source of happiness. Yeah.
As unlike for younger parents who, it'll be a source of happiness, but not as much as for the grandparents.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's one. Okay, so what are the economic implications according to you? Sorry, before that, would you like to add to this?
No, I would say that
quotient?
obviously happiness does change over time. When you are early in your career, you're happy because you want to achieve some things, a certain status, certain amount of wealth and material satisfaction. But as you grow older, you realize that is irrelevant. In the grand scheme of things, our time here on planet Earth is limited, each and every one of us. So when you start realizing, when you cross the age of 40 and you start realizing that now there is you're on the wrong side of your lifespan, then your priorities change, and then you want to maximize the amount of fun you draw from life for the remaining period of your life, and that can only be satisfied with more positive human relationships, not so much with material objects that
Right.
you accumulate.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So, Dr. Bali, all in all, happiness is very important. Longevity is also very important. We need to draw a bridge between happiness and longevity. That bridge essentially constitutes of a lot of things. Relationships, circumstances of people, etc., all that. But then very importantly, it also is influenced by a medical dimension. What can that medical dimension be? Should it be supplements? Should it be proactive health management, preventive health care? What should that be?
So the most important medical aspect of this would be doing regular checkups. So once a year or once in 6 months, something called a preventive health checkup. And then depending on the kind of diseases somebody is suffering from, the baseline diseases like hypertension, diabetes, heart problems, certain specific tests as advised by your doctor. So that kind of medical part is definitely important. And as we say, prevention is better than cure. So definitely preventive tests are very, very important. In Indian scenario especially, we see a lot of people are deficient in vitamin B12, vitamin D deficiency, most important vitamins for your bone health. Vitamin B12 is also important for your mental health. And unless you do the test, you will not get to know who is deficient. Like I always tell my patients, you would not know. It's not written on your face what you don't have in your body and what is less in your body, and you need it. So unless you do the test, you will not know. So yes, doing testing time to time, preventive health, some immunizations which are important, which will again prevent you against the diseases. All those things are definitely important, and they are a very, very important aspects of longevity, because the longer a person will live, it will also depend on their baseline health and their, the mental health and the physical health. The longevity depends on that to some extent. And as we know, then in the years, we are seeing that the longevity is increasing in our country. So there are a lot of good aspects of it. There are some negative aspects of it, because elderly population is more prone for, they are the vulnerable population for any kind of mental as well as physical problems. So their care, their checkups, regular checkups, regular visits to the doctors is an important part to it.
Sabeer?
Like obviously I'm not a doctor,
No.
but I know
Non-doctors will.
I know that
You're almost a
in the US there is a lot of for happiness, a lot of people are prescribed medications like Prozac. And I don't know why that is, but that I don't know if that just is a mood lifter, that's a chemical imbalance in people's minds, but that's how that society seems to feel happier.
Prozac?
We would not prescribe it to our elderly population on a routine basis, but yes, people who need it, because you have to do their their psychosomatic analysis in a way. But I guess in Indian scenario, I would say supplements definitely have a very important role, because as we know that if we don't take our diet as of the nutrition pyramid, which most of us are not able to follow, then your body definitely needs supplements. So supplements in terms of calcium, vitamin D, proteins, some other vitamins, those things are definitely important. Yes, mild antidepressants and sometimes mood elevators are given to people, but not without analyzing them, whether they need it or not. So at least as a good practice, I would say that we would not write to anybody and everybody. But yes, if they need, then of course they do. But with multiple medical problems, people landing up in the hospital is getting a angio and a stenting done. Many of them do need an anti-stress medication or a mild antidepressant or a mood elevator.
So, friends, give yourself the supplement of abundant happiness if you really want to live long. That is the quintessence of what we are discussing here. And should you have any questions, put them on the B Cubed Showreel app, which you can download from App Store or Play Store. Put your questions there, send them to us. Dr. Bali and Sabeer Bhatia will be more than happy to answer your queries. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dr. Bali. Thank you, Sabeer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.